a couple people are asking about. Well, let's go to Irv Smith here. Special student 2 says thoughts on Irv Smith and Alex Mattison. I
Well,
think the early thoughts for me are that they just nailed 2 skill position draft picks, and Irv Smith had that. It got chopped off because of a penalty, but he had that long reception catch and run in the second half. And all I could think about was, do you ever play Mario Kart and do time trials?
hmm
And you could like race against the ghost of whoever has the best time on that
yeah,
track. And all I could when I keep calling him AJ Smith, when Irv Smith is running, I'm like seeing what Kyle Rudolph would look like if he was trying to keep up with him. Just like, whoa, okay, that's a tight end. It's a tight end. He's running faster than most wide receivers are. So I think it would be a good call for the Vikings to make sure that Smith gets 3 or 4 targets minimum per game here going forward, because that dude can make something happen.
Alex Mattison, 58 yards on the ground today on 12 carries, and that rushing touchdown where he leaped over a Raider and got into the end zone. That was impressive. Irv Smith Jr., Phil, he was the Vikings' leading receiver with 60 receiving yards today.
Yeah.
Only 3 receptions. Dalvin Cook actually led the team with 4 catches. But Irv Smith Jr. was basically the leading receiver for the Vikings today.
Man.
3 catches, 60 yards on 3 targets. So, I mean, it's there. I mean, it sometimes it takes a little while for rookie tight ends to really contribute as the season goes along. But, if they can get something out of him early on, it's another target for Kirk Cousins. It can only help the quarterback. And I think this quarterback has shown that he needs as many weapons and targets as possible. And if Irv Smith can continue to emerge as one, this offense can be in pretty good shape.
Yeah. I mean, I think the skill position players up and down. We touched on it earlier on, but when you look and see that you have a $14 million wide receiver in Stephon Diggs that basically hasn't been used in the first 3 weeks of the season, and you're
Yeah.
putting up this many yards and points, it's pretty amazing. Actually, there's probably a conversation to be had at some point about Stephon Diggs and just like why is he only catching 5-yard passes, and why does he only have a limited amount of targets so far this season? But there's a lot going back to their blueprint. They're clearly focused on running the ball 30 times a game and just jamming it down opponents' throats until
Yeah.
they have to pass. And so if they're only going to be throwing, 20 times a game so far on average, I think even less than that if you average the first 3 games, there's just not that many targets to go around. And I don't know if Irv Smith is going to jump into the target mix too. In fact, if I'm going to rank just based on the first 3 weeks, if I'm going to rank the guys that I want to see getting the ball on offense for the Vikings, Dalvin Cook is number 1,
hmm
best running back in the NFL. Adam Thielen's probably number 2. I think Stephon Diggs should be number 3, but if Irv Smith wanted to challenge and get into that top 3 or 4 above Kyle Rudolph, I wouldn't fight you. If you told
Yeah.
me going forward, hey, Irv Smith is going to be one of the top 3 or 4 most featured offensive pieces, and he's going to have games like he had today, I'm in. Sign me up.
Well, and here's what I think is going to happen over the next few weeks too as the season progresses. We might not see this against Chicago next week because the Bears defense is just phenomenal and I think they trust what they're able to do and they trust their scheme. But we may start seeing more teams try and stack the box to stop Dalvin Cook as Dalvin Cook continues to rack up 100-yard games. Teams are going to start taking notice. They're going to get more film on what this team is trying to do running the football. So teams are going to start trying to stack the box and take Dalvin Cook away. And knowing who Kirk Cousins is, they're going to start trying to force Kirk Cousins to try and beat them. And that could open up some opportunities for, some guys in the passing game to really emerge. And that's going to rest on the shoulders of the quarterback
Yeah.
to when they take away the running game, or teams are going to try and do that at least. Cousins needs to put a little bit more on his shoulders now and start making some throws down the field because the opportunities will be there and he's got to go out and execute. So I think what they have in Dalvin Cook, I mean, this is the Dalvin Cook show for this offense. This offense is centered around Dalvin Cook and what he can do, not only as a runner, but as a pass catcher as well. So that's going to be the first order of operation for this team offensively is to get Dalvin Cook the ball as much as possible and get him involved. But when teams start to try and take that away, Now that's going to open up some opportunities for some of the receivers. Irv Smith Jr., like you said, Kyle Rudolph, who's off to kind of a slow start this year. There's going to be some opportunities there. It's just going to come down to the quarterback being